Hello, everyone. Welcome. I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to join me. We're doing our weekly platform demo. My name is Mark Smith. I am the Director of Solutions Engineering here at Cloud Academy. I'm based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, here in the United States. So again, thank you for your time. I love being able to talk about the platform, share a little bit about how I see it day to day with our customers. So I'm grateful for you spending this time with me. I will be taking some questions throughout. I have Francesca Vigliani on with me as well. She'll be monitoring questions that come through. If there's one that comes up and it makes sense for me to answer it right away, I will do that. If not, I'm going to do all the questions and give the answers at the end. So feel free to put those in the chat. And then at the end, we'll wrap up and go through kind of finishing points. So yeah, if you do have any questions, feel free to pop those in. Would love to answer those for you. With that, what I'm going to do is switch over to our demo environment, and we're going to start walking through the platform. The goal being here, I want to just help you kind of see and contextualize how this may be something that you could use within your teams, within your organization, and some of the use cases that we see day to day and how our clients are kind of upskilling, and we know what a heavy lift that is. So with that, I'm going to go over. And what I want to do is set the scene for you here. When we first and initially engage with organizations, what we want to do is help them to be able to create. By the way, I'm going to turn off my camera for a moment. Got a couple kids here schooling, so bandwidth is precious. Ultimately, what we want to do is help you structure it in such a way that it presents a hierarchy that makes sense for you. So when you're looking at this screen here, you can have a parent team here, or you can break it down by certifications, by job roles. But you'll notice when you expand this, there's multiple teams under. And what this is doing is helping create a hierarchy that mirrors either the way it is in your organization or based on job roles, whatever that may be, you could structure it this way. So in this particular example, you've got a parent company here and then several different companies or several different teams underneath. These teams could have sub teams as well. But what this does is allows any of these sub teams to then have that the team manager or the administrator to have the insight into all the reporting and analytics for every team that falls underneath them. So you have the adequate reporting. And one thing that I will mention is that any of your administrators or team managers who just need to be able to administer the platform, to administer the training to their teams, assessments, training plans, which we're going to talk about, look at all the skills that are progressing with the skill profiles, those licenses are completely free if they don't need access to content. So I want to just show you really quickly what I'm talking about. Here you've got a team, you've got a couple of team managers who are then going to be able to see all the progress for their particular team members as sign out training as they move through. And we'll come back and revisit this screen here in a moment. Now, one of the first things that we want to do, and one of the things that's critical when we're rolling out this training program, so we're built on what we call an assess, develop, and validate model. This is a continuous process that we work with our clients throughout. And what that means is we want to get an initial baseline of what you're coming in with. So we want to know where you're starting from. What's the starting point? And sometimes you have some assumptions, so this could be validating that. Other times we've seen where these assessments are administered and it's quite telling and shapes the way that you want to put out additional training plans or maybe even break apart the team. You'll see here, the way that we do assessments is a bit different. So initially, usually most of our customers will start off with one of these text-based assessments. These are some out of the box. You can create and customize these through Content Engine, which I'll talk about momentarily. But we all have lab-based assessments as well. These are great for going in and looking and seeing after a particular training plan cycle how well someone can go and perform something in a scenario, a challenge-based scenario, in a safe sandboxed environment prior to putting them over into a production environment. So again, I'll go through and show you what one of these assessments look like. So if we're a multi-cloud organization and I want to get a quick look or baseline on where my team is when it comes to these particular cloud platforms, a lot of times assessments can be very cumbersome. These are very quick. They hit on some of the core domains. And what you'll be able to see is even the granularity of the individuals and how they scored. When I talked about formulating some assumptions and validating those, these may very well show you what you already assumed, but it's always good to have that. But it also may show you, so perhaps maybe someone is scoring particularly higher than everyone else. They may be a little bit more advanced, possess some skills that you didn't know, or on the other end, they could be a little bit lower, and you might just have to adjust the plans that you put in place for them. So you'll see the individual level, and then you'll be able to see across each of these some of those core domains that I was talking about before. and where those teams are ranking. So you'll see beginner, intermediate, advanced. This is formulating the baseline skill profile at the individual level, which then flows into the team and ultimately to the organization. And then you look at overall kind of where they're ranking when it comes to their familiarity or proficiency within that platform. Now, what happens after this is we're going to partner with you through our customer success team, as well as someone from my solutions team. We'll pull in members of the content team, whatever we need to do to help get you on the right path. And we're going to start to prescribe training that's going to attack those skill gaps that align with your business outcomes. So what are you looking to achieve? Is it particular upskilling? Is it certifications? Whatever that is, we're going to help you align those training plans to do that. So if you recall, I'll go back into the team I was in before. And here you have the ability to be able to launch those training plans. So I can start a new training plan from here. And what this is doing, and I come from an instructor-led training background myself, so people are in the class and what they're doing. The thing that I love about training plans, and I've been here for over 3 years, and I saw when this was in its beta phase, is that it presents some accountability. You have some predictability as well, but you know that people are tracking against the due date, and you can see their progress. So let's say I wanted to start, with these out-of-the-box training plans that we have. Again, I can create any custom ones that I want as well, but I want to get a starter path on the Cloud Architect for AWS. I can pick that, and now I can come in and select the due date. So if I want to come in and make sure that everyone has this done by the end of September, you'll notice it automatically adjusts the amount of time per week. I can use the slider bar as well if I want, but I'll review, confirm, and assign that. Now what happens is it's going to build this training plan for me. Once that's done, every member of that team is going to be sent an email telling them that training plan's been assigned. It's going to tell them when it's due, how much time they should devote per week. They're going to get weekly emails with their status. So at minimum once a week, they're going to be reminded. And as a manager, you're going to get weekly emails with the status. I talked a little bit about this just a moment ago, but the predictability, the ability to sequence these out, this is a really, really great functionality. So now let's say I've done the starter path and I want to go and have them go into more intermediate after they finish. Again, same concept. I can come in and select the date that I want to have this done. I'll assign this out. And what it does is queue that training plan up to sequence after that next one. So now when they come in, they're actually going to be able, sorry, I think I didn't hit confirm and assign there, but what's going to happen is they go through the one training plan. And after it's done, then they can flow seamlessly into the next. I did it twice, sorry. So ultimately, you have that predictability around. So if this was the proficient training plan, so you've got starter, intermediate, proficient, you've got the leveling up all the way through. I can look at, as a manager of a team or a director, I can look and say, here's where we're starting from. But by the end of June in 2022, I can confidently predict that we're going to be around here when it comes to our skill growth. That is very, very valuable information when you're kind of setting the course for your team, setting deadlines, reporting up to your C-suite level on where you can plan to have things completed over any period of time. So it really gives you that insight that you need to really manage the upskilling over time. And we'll meet with you regularly to make sure that we're hitting on all those KPIs that you want to achieve as well. I will show you one more part on the training plans when it comes to the accountability. So let me go into one that's in progress, but some behind. As a manager, you can always come in here and look and see exactly where everyone is at on their training plan. Any training plan that expires, they can still complete those. You can come in and extend the due date or close it. But ultimately, built inside of this, there's automatic nudges that can be turned on, meaning if they get behind on the training plan, the system will automatically generate a nudge for them. Or you can come in and manually nudge them as well. So what that does is you come in here and click it, it generates a message from you. You can adjust this if you want, and you send that out to them. It goes to their email. It tracks the number of times they're nudged in the reports, but ultimately it's an additional layer of accountability, either manually or automatically built into the platform. So that is what we call the assess and the develop stage, where you're actually going in and developing the training plans. Now, one of the most important parts of how you're able to actually look and confirm, and by the way, these training plans have been, absolutely critical in helping our organizations hit their metrics, hit what they want to do. It's a really vital part of the training program, but you want to know now what people are learning. You want to be able to go in and validate that. So we're going to help you accomplish that a couple of ways. One is under your analytics. So here, and I'm at the organizational level. Again, if I was a manager, I'd be able to see my teams and all the members under there. But what I'm able to look at here is this is every bit of content that's being consumed on the platform. I'll talk about learning paths here momentarily, but they're a culmination of all these different areas that you see here: courses, quiz, exams, labs, and what we call custom resources. Ultimately, I can go in and look and see what's being consumed at any team and my entire organization, all the way down to the individual level. I'll just touch on one benefit here, especially when it comes to certifications. We've been able to use this because we have such a large database of questions. You can actually come in, if you're going through a certification initiative, a lot of the consulting firms that we work with are doing that on the certification fast tracks that we administer and live webinars that we conduct to help them go in and pass those. Our content team is great for that. Ultimately, I can go in and look after they're going through the practice exams and see how many times they started them, completed them, and passed them. This is helpful to know, again, what their last score was to see if they're ready to go and sit for that exam. And we're going to help you manage the certification initiatives too, which I'll talk about here momentarily. Now, that's your consumption level metric, which is important. But on the Cloud Academy platform, something completely unique, and one of my favorite things to talk about and review with our customers is what we call skill profiles. This is not, I sat and watched a course, so I'm now an expert on S3. This is actually, I've gone in, I've looked at a course, I've actually gone in and executed some labs and done a quiz or exam. This skill profile is being fed by that initial assessment, but then subsequently is continuously being built based on performances on quizzes, exams, and then the validated hands-on labs. So you've got those practitioner level skill sets that are so important to any organization looking to transform and upskill their groups. So what you're looking at here is the overall Cloud Academy score. This is everything for your entire organization. Again, I'm at the admin level, so I can switch and filter by teams if I wanted, all the way down to the individual, but everything on Cloud Academy, all the cloud platforms, all the domains, concepts, software, and tool. What I want to do is start to show you how this is used by our organizations today. So let me go and look at AWS, for instance. What I've done now is I've isolated all the practitioner level skills, the proficiency in AWS overall. If you recall from that initial assessment, there were some of those core domains that got you that baseline. Here's the exhaustive list of all those domains. Now, what I'm able to look at is generally see where we are, where are our strengths, where are our areas of opportunity overall within our organization. Again, I can filter by teams, but I can actually start to look at the individual users. So in this particular instance, Grace and Charlie are kind of leading the pack as far as their overall proficiency and practitioner level skills within AWS. So they're very well rounded. And then I can start to look at my teams too and identify which teams are really progressing as they should. Now, I can take this a step further. So what's most important to me at this point, security being top of mind, I can go in and isolate that domain. So now I'm just looking within the security domain within AWS and where our practitioner level skills lie there. You'll notice that I've got all the different services under here. I can see where we're at. If I wanted to help build some initiatives around these, I can certainly prescribe training to attack those. But again, I've got that same level of insight into the top users who have that practitioner level skill set within this domain. So what can we use this for? What do our customers use this for? An example we have is our one of our customers is using this type of information to help understand what level of support their support personnel could be. How many tickets can they handle per month? They're building that out in their plans based on their proficiency level on some of their own custom content that they're putting in the platform too. I can use this for consulting engagements to put people on projects to help pick the right services as we architect our solution, training new people. Again, I can filter out the teams as well and look and see the proficiency there. But these are all use cases that our customers are using when it comes to the skill profile score. Really, really valuable practitioner level skills, insight to report up on the efficacy of a training program, and something that our customer success team will continuously review with you and help make sure that we're hitting on all those KPIs. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pivot for a moment. Please put a pin. I'm gonna come back to Content Engine, which is really, really important, and it's really, really exciting. It's how you go in and create some custom content in the platform. But what I wanna do now is pivot back over to what it looks like as an end user on the platform. So we started as a B2C, right? So where we were actually working with our, our particular students, and they were end users on the platform. And then we started to pivot to an enterprise model. So we still have that consumer-based model, and people are still using it individually. But we pivoted to try to help build a platform to wrap around that exceptional end user experience, so that you could manage training at scale programmatically with the predictability that you need to really create a successful digital transformation journey, if you will. I showed you some of that already, but I want you to take a look at, from an end user perspective, what this looks like, because I think it's very important that you know that our end users, so the people within the organization that are using the platform, are drawn to it. They enjoy the experience. They see the value in it. So the usage is there, which is super important. This is the dashboard. So you'll notice that there's a lot of different things up here. If there was a training plan assigned to that individual or their team, and they were part of that team, they'll have that here, and they can always launch it. They could be part of multiple teams, so they could have multiple training plans. One thing that I'll note for you as well is sometimes organizations we work with want to allow individuals to assign themselves a training plan, so they can do that too. They can create a personal training plan and assign that. They can look at their activity and go back and continue studying any of these areas. Any assessments that were assigned, they can launch that from here. They can come in and pick up their certificates of excellence from the completed content. The bookmarks here are really cool, because they can bookmark certain areas they want to go back and look at. When I look at some of the exams and explanations for studying, they can bookmark those too and go back and use those when they're preparing. And then the certifications, they can go in and upload these, which are going to help you maintain and manage your certification initiatives. We're building out some really great certification functionality and reporting for managers, which is due to be released here in the next month or so. So I look forward to when we can kind of show that, and we'll maybe do a separate webinar to show you what those look like. We do have a mobile app, so everyone has access to that. It's the mobile team has just done a phenomenal job with that. It's exceptional, especially for consuming content offline and then connecting to your network and uploading all of that. The individual does have access to their own skill profile score, which is phenomenal, because this allows them to really take control, and it empowers them to kind of look at where they're at in their journey and then make adjustments. So if Azure is a focus of mine, I can look at, kind of overall where I'm at and identify maybe some of the areas that I might want to go in and take a look at. I could see where I stack rank against some of my colleagues. If I wanted to put a focus on AI and Azure, I can prove skill through quizzes and exams, or I can browse training applicable to that as well. So again, just another way to engage the end users, to keep them engaged on the platform, to make them feel empowered to make the decisions to be more well-rounded practitioner within your organization. I'm going to go to the training library now. This is, we are Cloud Academy, lends itself to people thinking that we're just cloud, but we're cloud and emerging tech. So all the areas around cloud that are going to be important. We do have a focus on job roles. These are some of the 5 core job roles. We're going to publish more of those here over the next couple of months, and you'll see more of those. But these journeys can take you as a cloud architect, beginner. I showed you one for AWS. It does the same for Azure and GCP. Really helpful for kind of structuring what's important to you in your job role within your organization. And then you've got your categories. So all the cloud platforms, the different domains that we have, including all the certifications that are available, containers, so Docker, Kubernetes, DevOps, not just all the tools in the tool chain, but what is DevOps as a methodology? How could we implement that in our organization? Programming, so Java, R, Python, Go. Security, general security like CISSP and cybersecurity principles, foundations, different things like that. Again, so it's very much focused on cloud and emerging tech, which is going to allow us to keep that content up to date. So one of the things that is a big sticking point for our customers, how current is your content? Our content team is phenomenal. They're all in-house employed here. We develop our content. We do have some partners that we might go in and help license that, but we develop it all in-house. So they update it. They spend an entire quarter of their time going through and updating that. So it's phenomenal, the work that they're able to do and keeping up with the changes that are always coming through. Now, if I look at, I want to open up AWS here. I just want to show you that learning path that I was talking about before, and why it's so successful, and kind of it's just so pinpointed into how people can go in and really focus on anything that's important and have a really structured way to go through it. Now, these are the learning paths that I talked about. They can be assigned out through training plans. So if I pick up on this certification, the Solutions Architect Associate, you'll notice a couple of things here immediately. I can send this directly to my phone, which then will just allow me to be able to consume it from my phone. Again, I can go to my certifications, Certificate of Excellence when I complete this learning path. If you have internal requirements for continual professional education, or even for some of your certifications that require that, you'll be able to have those, and they're printed on your Certificate of Excellence. You'll get an overall insight into this path and what all it's contained inside of it, and then you go through and you've got the steps that are in here. So you'll see you've got the courses. We call this a learn, do, and validate model. So you'll have some courses, some labs, you'll have a couple of exams built in. Stuart Scott, the famous Stuart Scott, is built in here. He just refined this learning path. It's phenomenal. We've had great feedback. But again, you can see how this is taking you through the entire journey to help you prepare for that certification. I'm going to talk a little bit about more of these particular points in here, but I want to kind of go back and show you a little bit about how we structure this. So let me click into one of these. So here's the storage domain, or the storage course here that Stu has developed. You'll notice this one is 3 hours long, which can sometimes appear daunting, but the great thing that the content team has done is they break these down into modules. So it's not just this long, elongated 3 hour long course. You've broken it apart into modules for two reasons. One, if you're like me, it's difficult to sit down even for 30 minutes and focus on something without being interrupted. Two is if I go in and I knock out a few of these modules, I'm staying current on my training plan in my mind. It's helping me build up that, I'm feeling like I'm accomplishing something, so I'm staying in tune to it. And it's super helpful for staying current on this training plans. It's indexable and searchable. So if I want to go back and look at something on server access logging, I can put that in the search bar and be able to pull that up. I'm going to go into a lab to show you what that looks like as well. So labs are done a couple of different ways on our platform. This is a guided lab, so I'm going to start this lab. Discard the one that was already running here. We've got guided labs. I talked about the challenge labs, which are phenomenal for kind of testing how well people can perform in a safe and sandboxed environment prior to turning them over to a production environment. You'll see playground labs, open environments where you can go in and run, workloads, things like that, and then command line interface as well. So a really good mix of the way that we do labs here. So I'll take this password. What's going to happen is I'll open up the environment. It's going to take me directly to the AWS console here. I'll put in my credentials and I will log in. And you'll notice that it's going to take me into the console under a student account. Every one of the labs that you're in is going to have unique credentials. You can go in and do these as many times as they want. Again, it's all included in the subscription. You'll notice there's a timer. We give you ample amount of time to complete these labs. If there's 2 hours filtered in, the chances are it takes probably 45 minutes for most people on average to go in and complete these. So here's the screenshots. I talked about this being a guided lab. That's just walking you through how to open the console. This next step, I just want to show you, these are again guided, where the labs themselves have the instructions built in through text, which allows us to keep these updated more frequently. So as I'm going through and looking at this particular lab step, I'm going through and completing it, and then I go all the way down and you'll notice that there's validation checks built in. This is unique to Cloud Academy as well. We'll help you run the validation checks within the lab at certain points of the step to see how well you're doing. If you haven't done it correctly, it'll error out. You have to go back and fix it, and then proceed on to the next step, which subsequently you would validate it at the end, and that's going to feed into your skill profile. With the challenge labs, and I'll talk about these in a moment, a little bit about how they relate to exams, but ultimately there's challenge scenarios built in throughout the entire, a lot of these learning paths. You don't have this guidance. You've just got the scenario and you've got to go through and complete it without the guidance, and then again, validate it at the end. I'm going to go into the final exam for this one because I think it's important to show you what that looks like. It's phenomenal for going and studying for the exams. I talked a little bit about some of our fast track programs that our customers use, where we'll bring in our instructors to do focus sessions. We do webinars on cert prep and passing the exams. And then you've got your obvious self-study in here. So this is mirroring the live exam environment. I'm going to go through and just answer a few of these to show you what it looks like. You'll notice I can skip questions. So if I want to go back and answer it later, I can do that. We do something a little bit different. We call this item response theory as well. So even in some of the certifications, but more importantly, kind of the job roles or just overall skill focused learning paths and exams, there's item response theory built in. So behavioral patterns being if you answer, something like 5 beginner level questions correctly in a row, because every one of these questions are weighted. That's how it's feeding into your skill profile. It may adjust the difficulty of the next question to more intermediate. You get it right, maybe it asks you another one. You get it wrong, it adjusts back down to beginner. So it's constantly pinging that score to make sure that you can be confident in where it's at. I'm going to answer this last question and submit. I talked about there being, multiple questions that we're pulling from. So best practice is to go through and do these multiple times. It takes, 5 or so iterations before you may start to see recurring questions consistently. If you get them wrong, it reduces the chances. If you get them wrong, it increases the chance you'll see again. If you get them right, it reduces the chances. It doesn't eliminate it, but again, it's a great experience kind of going through and answering those. Now I can actually see how this impacted my skill profile score. So if you recall from the initial screen, you've got your services, they roll up into the domain. So let's just take storage, for instance. I answer a question on Glacier correctly. That's going to assume knowledge on that service, which assumes knowledge on the domain, which then assumes knowledge on my overall AWS score, and then feeding into my overall Cloud Academy score. So that's the way that works. It's pretty cool how it all kind of filters up into the overall score. You'll notice you can improve score immediately. So if I know I'm better at security than I did on this particular exam, I can immediately launch a quiz to help improve that, or I can browse training. And then down here, again, you get on the different domains within the exam, you can see how you scored there. But I can actually go in and look at my answers. I can see the ones that I got correct. I can see the ones that I got wrong, be given the correct answer along with an explanation, even be pointed to official AWS documentation, which is super important for studying for those exams. I can look at all the ones I skipped as well. So we're going to give you all that insight into whether you got them correct, wrong, or skipped them at the end of the exam. The last thing that I'll mention here really quickly are these challenge-based scenarios. I think this is important. It's helpful, even though there may not be a lab simulation right now on the Solutions Architect. I know AWS is in beta with their SysOps, associate certificate, and doing a lab simulation in there. Microsoft is already doing this with Azure. We've got lab challenges that match up with those. I think it's important. So these are the lab challenges. You're given that scenario and you have to go in and start it and complete it. So this is hitting on some of those domains that we were talking about. But again, this is really helpful. You kind of know how to navigate through it. Not only helpful for the exam, but also helpful just in developing those overall practitioner level skills. So stay tuned. We'll have that SysOps lab challenge built out once that's released in GA for everyone to go in. The team is already working hard on that now. All right, the last thing that I'll show you is just the search functionality. So if I wanted to go in and search for something in the platform, I can go ahead and do that. So Kubernetes, if I wanted to look at that, it's going to pull up all the learning paths. Or all the content, I should say. Then I can filter down by learning path, by difficulty, any topic that I want to go and take a look at. I can start to look at the learning paths that have it, any of the courses, the labs, the quizzes. So again, super easy to go and navigate and find the content that's right for you. All right, the last thing that I want to show you, and again, this is an exciting thing to talk about because it's completely unique to Cloud Academy, is Content Engine. So being able to train with context. Now, customization can be another one of those daunting terms, right? What does it mean to customize something? Well, we do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to talk about a very simple scenario where maybe you have a PDF or a video on your organization. It could be onboarding, it could be security principles, whatever it is. You put that video, you upload it as a custom resource. So this is a static file. It could be a PowerPoint, PDF. It could be an MP4. So you put that video into a custom resource, you upload that into Cloud Academy, you title it, and it's available for consumption. Now, what do I want to do is I want to create some questions that roll up into an exam that's going to help me understand if people watched it and if they understand it. You can actually come in and create these questions, put them into buckets. You'll be able to do that as well. But ultimately, each question I talked about is weighted. So you can sign it, you can have your question here, put the answers, an explanation, even a URL. You can put custom skill objectives to this, and then roll this into an exam where I can set the difficulty level, and ultimately that's going to feed into that skill profile. So our customers who are using these custom resources can tie skills that are relevant or custom skills to their own organization, and those are going to report out into skill profiles as well. So it's a really, really cool feature that's really just phenomenal and something unique that we offer. We're going to allow you to be able to customize labs. So to be able to create a lab that is simulating or matching the way that you're doing things in your environment. You could do it two ways: from scratch, meaning you're starting this directly and pulling from all the steps we have, or creating it on your own, or you can clone something that we have. I'll just pick one of the playgrounds that we have here. Select that. You'll notice it'll fill everything in, so I can come in and label this something differently. But I go into that step, and then I can actually come in and look, and I can adjust any of these or build out new steps to, again, mirror and reflect the way we do things in our organization. Really, really phenomenal functionality that allows us to be able to go in and make these changes. So I change the title. If I come in here and start changing anything, it's going to save this as a custom step for me. And so now, anytime anyone wants to access this particular lab step, it's labeled as custom, so they know it's unique to our organization after it's saved and published. I'll go into a learning path because the simplicity in which you can actually update these, I think, is important. So I'll use the solutions architect again as an example. So maybe it is important that we're going for the certification, but I also want to add some areas in here that are applicable to us. So I'll select that particular learning path. Same as before, if I wanted to do from scratch, I can take every piece of content that we've put in from scratch and create a totally custom learning path, or I can do what I just did, clone something and then add pieces into it. So I could just custom at ABC. I can change any of these in here. It automatically fills it out because I did clone this. And then I could set a difficulty level, add where I want that to fit into the library so people can come in and take a look at it. But this next step, which I think is really cool to kind of look at, you saw the learning path with the tiles. Here's what it looks like on the back end. So essentially you have access to the same engine that our content authors do to go in and create these learning paths. So if I want to come in here and I want to take this out, I can do that. If I want to go in and add a couple of these custom resources or a lab that we've done, so I've got the, I'm just picking some random things here for example. I've got a resource and then another exam that I want to add in. I put those, they put them all the way down here at the bottom, and then I can start to move them wherever I want. Once you save this and publish it, it's available. You can either make it available to everyone. Here I can actually select if I added any additional skills or anything custom, I can add those into it as well. Once you save it, you're able to go and publish this. And one thing that I'll let you know is Content Engine is accessible to everyone, not just admins. And why that's important is because a lot of the people that are doing the work for you are the ones that have the knowledge to go in and develop these. So you can empower them to go in and create these custom paths or custom resources, whatever, custom labs, but they can't publish them. Only an administrator or team manager can do that. And when you publish it, it's available. You can even select if you want it to go to just be available to certain teams, or if you want it to be available to the entire organization. And that's that's a very unique feature. Once it's as a learning path, then you can assign it out as training plans and make it available for everyone to go in and consume. That was everything that I wanted to share with you today about the platform. Again, I really am appreciative of the time that everyone's spent. I want to go in and make sure and see if there were any questions. The only question that I have, it says, is the training plan feature included in both the business plans or just for, in both of the business plans or just for enterprise? So that's a great question. I'm glad whoever asked that. Thank you for doing that. I want to clarify something. When it comes to Cloud Academy, there's two versions, right? So you've got your individual plans, which none of the things that I've shown you on this enterprise side would be included. You'd see the things on the end user side that I've shown you. But those are individuals, just people that want to access content, but there's no real programmatic need to structure the training. Everything that I've shown you on today on the enterprise plan is included. And that's not just going to be, so we're making updates to our reporting, interactive dashboards, things that are coming here within this month. Every update that we make or new feature or new, whatever we add, that's all going to be included. It's not going to be any add-on or anything like that. There's recyclability built into the licenses as well. But yeah, great question. All these are included, every feature that I've talked about, and these are all inclusive, not something that we're going to come to you with as well. It looks like someone asked about SCORM. So yes, we do have the ability for you to be able to upload SCORM content as well. And it says, how many users can I have in the basic tier, and what are some of the limitations other than content engine? Again, there's no tiers to the way that we do the enterprise, so everything that I've shown you is included. We have customers that can have an enterprise engagement with 15 users or less, and then we have some who have 25,000 users built into it. So we can scale with you. We can help you onboard all of them. We have SSO integrations built in, so all this stuff can be automated for you as well. APIs that you can call on for the reporting that would integrate with your LMS. So yeah, all this is included, and there's no limitations on the number of people that you can have into an enterprise account. Another question: can you reassign licenses as a person is not using the capability? Yes, there's reassignment automatically built in, 25%. This is something we can revisit for you. That's not even inclusive of if someone leaves your organization. But yes, if the license not being used, perhaps we do this a lot with consulting firms. They're on projects and things like that. We want to make sure that it's fitting your needs. But yes, recyclability is built in, and we can look at that with you and kind of evaluate what's right for your organization when we kind of come to an agreement. This one is a little bit of a longer question, so just give me a second. It says, was as many disciplines within the IT world that we have, such as AWS or cybersecurity, could you point someone with minimal experience to be as marketable as possible to find gainful employment, AWS or Azure? Yeah, that's a great question. So it's the question here is just really kind of centering around the different disciplines and how could someone use Cloud Academy to make themselves really kind of be able to find gainful employment. That speaks to something else that we have available, and this is also with individuals. So we have learning coaches as well in the platform itself, and I talked about this in the training library. You've got a couple of these job roles. So if you wanted to go and build yourself out and make yourself well versed in a cloud architect, maybe you're starting from scratch. We've got things that could, cloud is completely new to you. There's fundamentals built into the platform. So we've got content on what is cloud, what are the benefits of it, cost optimization, FinOps, things like that, familiarity with DevOps as a concept, the tools, and then building your knowledge around being a cloud architect. Now, whether you want that in AWS and Azure, what's most marketable, I'm not able to advise on that. It kind of depends on what you're looking to do, but ultimately, I think they're very, very marketable to have on your CV. So I think it all depends on what you're most comfortable with, what skill set you're coming in with. But those learning coaches, there's ability for you to actually set up appointments with them and be able to have maybe 15 minutes to kind of go through and see what's the right path for me. As I go through and kind of building out my skill set. On the enterprise side, that's something that our customer success team, kind of the nucleus, when you're partnering with us, they'll help pull together all the resources to pull out. Oftentimes, we're matching training plans that are really, let me turn on my video, by the way. We're matching training plans up with what are the organizations or the business outcomes that the organization is looking to achieve. So we're actually helping align and prescribe training plans that align to that. Certification initiatives, we're bringing on the content team and doing webinars and things like that. So ultimately, that guidance is all done through customer success. On the individual side, you'll have learning coaches that can help you with that too. And the last question I see here, unless anything comes in, it says, does the cost remain the same no matter the number of licenses? So no, there's economies of scale. Our list price starts at $649 per user, which includes everything that you've seen today, all access to new features, including all new content that we add, and we can absolutely work with you on the needs of your organization. Again, we've got customers with 10 licenses to 20,000 licenses. There are definitely economies of scale built in, and we'll work with you on that. A couple more questions that are coming in, which is great. I love it. This one says, just want to give an upfront feedback after accessing Cloud Academy portal for a couple of days. A fantastic job has been done and am impressed by the below innovation. That's awesome. Hey, listen, thank you for that feedback. I love feedback as well as questions, so that's great. Please reach out. We'd love to hear from you and love to set an appointment with you and kind of walk through and see what's working any suggestions that you have. Thank you for that feedback. Another question, if one is stuck on a lab, how can he easily move on with the learning path without getting stuck on that task? Every time I resume learning path, it brings me the same task. Okay, great question. So you're in the path. When you resume the task, it's going to pick up at the last part you left off. What you can do is use the bar I was talking about over here to the left. Let me go into this course, and what you're going to notice is it's going to take you back directly to that last part that you left off, but you can always come over and navigate on this side here. So if you're on this lab, you're stuck, you want to come back, and you're like me, I get frustrated, I want to just move on, do something else, you can immediately click off of this and go into the next step and launch that from there. So use that bar over here on the right hand side. It'll take you directly to the next step. You don't have to stay stuck on a lab. Where can I get more information on modular course structure, customized learning paths, small and short videos, but power pack content? I'm not sure I completely understand the question. It sounds like you're wanting to get more information on Content Engine. I can help you with that. You can reach out to me directly at mark.smith@cloudacademy.com. You can reach out to our support team, support@cloudacademy.com. We can help you out with that on best ways to kind of upload content. Our customer success team can work with you. If you're an existing customer, feel free to reach out to them directly. If you're just someone wanting to ask some questions, I'm happy to hop on a call with you again. So it's mark.smith, as you kind of see it on the screen, at cloudacademy.com. Please feel free to reach out, and I'm more than happy to talk through any of those questions with you. I don't see any more questions. I'm going to give it maybe 30 seconds here and see if anything else comes through. But this is phenomenal. All these questions and the feedback. I'm just Francesca knows I get excited when we get questions. I love to talk, if you guys can't tell, and I love the platform. I've been really excited to see and work with our customers and partner with them. I'm hoping if you're on the call and you're kind of leaning towards wanting to make a decision and do something, that you would consider reaching out. Let's just have a conversation and see if maybe there's the right fit. Last question that I see here. This is a great one. How would someone schedule an appointment with someone at Cloud Academy? You can go directly into our website, and there's a contact us that's there, and that'll be routed to someone to schedule an appointment. Again, I'm happy for you to reach out to me directly. I'm not an actual sales rep. I'm on the solutions team, but I work with our customers, or prospects, prospective customers, I should say, day in and day out. I'm happy to just answer any questions you have, and I can pull in a sales rep as needed to kind of help walk you through the buying process too. Would definitely love to speak with you. Again, mark.smith@cloudacademy.com. You can go through the website to do a contact us through there, or you can email sales@cloudacademy.com. Either way, I'll get you routed. We'll have a conversation and get you routed to the right person. Would love the opportunity to speak to you for sure. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was the last question. So what I'm going to do here, there is an end of webinar survey. Please, if you don't mind, I'd love for you to go in, fill that out. We'll follow up with you after as well. Again, please reach out to me directly if you have any questions. Maybe for next time, I'll remember on this last slide, I should put my email address on there. But again, it's mark.smith@cloudacademy.com. If you're on the line and you're a current customer, thank you so much for partnering with us. We really do appreciate it. If you're, again, thinking about maybe signing on or looking at what we have, please reach out. We'd love to speak with you about that. Again, grateful for your time, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll speak soon. Take care, all. Bye-bye.